Hey everyone, it's Yvonne Emil Elizondo from Silver Moon Astrology and spiritual counseling and mental health counseling and existential counseling and all sorts of counseling. Yeah, welcome. I am here today because I think we're having another Mercury retrograde here in Leo that starts tomorrow. I want to check. We'll check the chart. I'm pretty sure, but I think it's a good idea if I share this information with you and maybe share some potential, you know, challenges of this energy and then maybe some ideas of how you can learn to mitigate this Mercury retrograde, right? As soon as we say Mercury retrograde, even people that don't really know a whole bunch of astrology, they just kind of get crunchy. And Mercury retrograde can be a bit of a challenging time, right? I mean, I'm already having technology issues here as we step into this Mercury retrograde because it's been in its shadow period here. But yeah, I got some new lighting, which I'm really happy about. I was able to set it up all by myself, and I got a little new microphone. So let's see how it sounds. I'm hoping it's going to be okay. My ADHD just does not do well with having to put things together, read instructions. I get overwhelmed very, very easily. I know that sounds really ridiculous, but I do. It's just part of having ADHD. But I'm really proud of myself. So let's just see how it goes. All right, I'm going to show you the chart. And as I did last time, I'm going to go step by step with this chart and just show it to you. I am a teacher at heart, and so I love when I'm able to share and, plant some seeds for learning, especially when it comes to the astrology. So let's find Mercury. Here we go. So here is Mercury. It's stationed, it's like a minute before it dives into complete retrograde, but it's basically retrograde there. Okay, here is Leo. We're not going to pay attention to the house systems, so don't worry about what slice, this is happening in. What's important is that when we look at your natal chart, that's when we want to take a look at, what slice or what house this is in. So let's check the chart because I can't remember the exact time. So we have July 19th on Saturday at 11:41, 11:42. Okay, Central Standard Time, AM, by the way, Central Standard Time. There we go. Let's line these babies up. Okay, so there we have that Mercury retrograde. It is in Leo. Let's talk about that first because some really good stuff is happening, but it's also a potentially challenging time. So let me stop sharing. Okay, so let's start off by, just very briefly discussing what Mercury retrograde is and what a retrograde planet does, right? Okay, so physics does not incorporate the movement that I know of. I may be wrong because I'm not a physicist or an astrophysicist or anything like that. But from what I know, okay, is that planets don't move backwards. They don't. They rotate moving forward, right? And they have an elliptical. But basically what happens is that from our viewpoint on Earth, when a planet turns retrograde, it appears to move backwards, okay, as opposed to moving forward across the sky. And that's because of the elliptical of each of the planets in, correspondence to the Earth's elliptical and movement. It's a long story, but basically, if you're at a stoplight, right, and all of a sudden you get the green light, which is probably what happens when you're at a stoplight, eventually you're going to get the green light. The green light, both of the cars are moving forward, but if one car is moving faster, it's going to look like this other car that's moving slower is actually going backwards, but it's not. It's still moving forward. That's the same idea with the retrograde. The planet doesn't technically move backwards, but from our viewpoint, it appears to move backwards. So what does that mean for the energy of the planet? Well, in this case, it's Mercury, right? So let's take the theme of Mercury. So Mercury is the planet of thinking, communication, whether it's verbal, whether it's written, whether it's smoke signals, all right, technology, because that's one of the forms of communication. It represents travel. Did I say that already? But those are, technology, Anyways, it's the messenger of the gods. So it takes, did you hear that? That was Azul. He's doing something. Hi, baby boy. Hi, baby boy. I know it's blurry. Anyways, okay, so where was I? Mercury retrograde. Yes. So when a planet is retrograde, it doesn't function like it typically should, right? So psychologically and spiritually, it could be more internalized energy. So the experiences happen internally, or there's more what's the word I'm looking for? Reflection. Okay, that's necessary, right? So there's a sense of internalizing to reflect on that energy. Um, but essentially, the energy doesn't work correctly. So, for example, with Mercury retrograde, we'll have delays in communication. There might be miscommunication, misunderstandings, maybe just kind of missing each other and not being on the same boat. So, again, the energies just don't work quite as well. All right, so let's talk about this Mercury retrograde, and then we'll jump into some things that you can do during this time period because it's going to be 3.5 weeks. I think it turns direct on August the 12th. So it's about three and a half lovely weeks of dealing with all sorts of issues. Okay, so if we go back to the chart, I want to show you a couple of things that I'm going to mention. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry. I have allergies all the time. So here's the Mercury, in case you heard me sniffle. Okay, there's that Mercury retrograde in Leo. We're going to talk about Leo. All right, so the Leo energy. Okay, so Mercury, once again, backtrack. Mercury represents communication, travel, information from one place to another. It represents technology. Okay, it represents the mind and thinking. And so there's this communication thinking quality to Mercury. All right. When it's retrograde, we're going to see it not work as well. Got it. All right, so let's talk about Leo, the heart. Okay. I love Leo energy. I wish I had more Leo energy in my chart. I really have a weak Leo. I have no fire in my chart except Neptune and Sagittarius, and Neptune at 5 minutes, which is that much of fire. Anyways, all right, so Leo is the fire, it's the heart, right? So, what are some of the qualities of the heart? Um, it's about courage, it's about strength, loyalty, okay, persistence. It's about accomplishment, success, right? So there's this quality of the Leo, the lion, stepping up, right? And showing itself to the world, right? So much so that it can naturally gravitate people to it, to this energy, okay? It wants to be seen, it wants to be involved, it wants to be, part of the mix, so much so that it can lead, okay, the party. You come in and you know where the Leo energy is because there's going to be charisma, there's going to be, a sense of like knowing things and being a natural leader. These are all of the qualities of Leo energy, right? On a bad day, okay, that Leo energy can become self-absorbed, selfish, self-centered. It's all about me, 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 me. Okay, it's a fixed fire, right? So it doesn't like to move, right? So once Leo finds its place, it's like, this is my domain, and you all need to move because I'm not going to move. So it can be a very stubborn energy, okay? But because it's fire, it likes to burn for a long time. Okay, it's not like a rocket of that Aries fire, and it's not like the Sagittarius fire that, likes to go like wildfire all over the place, right? With the arrow. The Leo fire likes to stay in place, but it can burn for a really long time. So I've always compared it to like a cabin, like a cabin in the woods, and it's chilly outside, and you go inside and you sit by the fire and it can burn, all evening, and you're just comfortable. So there's this persistent quality, okay, to this Leo energy. All right. So it's about matters of the heart. Okay. And I feel that that's the energy that we are really looking at for this Mercury retrograde. It's about matters of the heart. So what does that mean? I'm going to show you in just a bit. So let's go back to the chart. Okay, here we go. Let's share. All right. And the reason I say that this is really going to be a time for matters of the heart is because once again, here we have this Mercury. Leo is about the heart. It's the heart of the zodiac. It literally represents the heart, like the physical heart, okay, in medical astrology. But if you notice, Mercury is creating a beautiful sextile. You really can't see it, but it's a sextile, okay, to Venus in Gemini. All right, what's a sextile? Well, basically, what we're looking at is that these two are of the same quality. Okay, so these are both more masculine, action-oriented energies. Okay, and I say masculine, I don't necessarily mean men. Okay, I mean more like action oriented, right? It's the yang part of the chart. Is it the yin? Yang? Yes, the yang part of the chart. I'm sorry. I got to tell you, I took a break, remember, from November to like last week. And so I'm getting it together. Okay. So, anyways, it's the action oriented part of the chart. Okay. All right. So, what does this mean? Right. Well, for me, this feels like when Mercury retrograde happens, there's the potential for things from the past to show up again. Right. It's like a redoing. Everybody says reanalyzing, reevaluating. And it's true. Stuff from the past can show back up so that you can reevaluate, reassess, and maybe make some adjustments if you need to, right? Or maybe you realize, like, nah, I'm good. I don't need to deal with this anymore. And so you just, you cut the cords. I love one of my, one of my beautiful friends, Carla, says, cut the cords. We're cutting the cords, right? Okay, so I feel that this Mercury retrograde is going to have to do with things that include connection at the heart. So it means relationships, whether it's relationships, intimate relationships, friends, partners, relational relationships, familiar, family. Okay. So those themes may come up, okay? And it also represents those things that you value or that you feel you value, okay? So, for example, everybody knows that I love jewelry, okay? Isn't this beautiful piece? This is Larvikite from Norway. It's Norwegian Larvikite. And my friend, my other beautiful friend, Julie, gave it to me. Isn't that cool? I got my ring. I got my mala. Yeah, okay. See, but that's something I'm working on, right? Not being so connected to those material things, right? Especially like crystals. It's clothes, not so much. Shoes, not so much. But you give me crystals and jewelry put together, yeah, I'm in it the whole way. Anyways, okay. So what was I saying? Yes, it's about value, right? So it could also pertain to money. All right. Okay. So let's put this together. Okay. This Mercury retrograde is connecting by sextile to Venus in Gemini. This means that something from the past, okay, or a relationship from the past shows up again, okay, so that you can reevaluate, reconsider it, which is what I said earlier. But it's also about recognizing the value, okay, or reassessing the value that you're placing on your relationships, okay, and or those things that you value, whatever that may be, right? And sometimes we have to stop and just kind of reflect, okay, on what are you truly placing your value in? Okay, is it, the news? Is it spirituality? Is it your job? Is it your car? I love my car. I'm working on it. Okay. I love my car, my Rowena. Okay. What is it that you place value in? And it's a time to, reassess and redetermine, okay, do I really need this, in my life, or is this something that I can let go of? Because retrogrades are significantly important in the letting go cycle, right? That's the idea is let's go back to take a look at this again and let's see if we can, if we actually need it to move forward or if we can, release it. The other part of this that I feel is important is that there could be, okay, I'm expecting significant miscommunications in relationships during this time period. Leo represents the heart, right? Okay. And it likes to be in partnership, although sometimes it likes to be independent, but it does enjoy the heart-based part of friendships and relationships. Okay. I know a longtime Leo in my life, and he is amazing. He has the charisma of like a god. Okay. And I'm trying not to say his name because, I'm trying to be private and confidential here, but let's just say this. When we were engaged, he gave me a diamond-shaped engagement ring, and he's a massive Leo. There you go, right? There you go. Now, did I ask for it? Yeah, I probably did. But, hey, at least listen to me. So, anyhow, so this is, you could find issues in your relationship, miscommunications, misunderstandings, not being able to see eye to eye, right? And also in not just in communication in relationships, but in communication in general. Travel might be delayed, right? Maybe you're going on vacation because you're wanting somewhere to, enjoy yourself, which is what Venus represents, right? Venus in Gemini is about information and data and movement and, travel. And so you might find delays during travel, which is no surprise with Mercury retrograde period, but you might experience that just a little bit more. You might also find that you miss important details. Okay, during this time period, right? And details that you're like, how did I miss that? I'm not sure. And all of a sudden you feel like you have ADHD and you're like, wow, I actually have ADHD. No, you don't. Well, I'm not a medical professional like that, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if you did or not. But anyhow, so my point is that during this time period, it also brings us to a space where we can really evaluate the state of the heart. Okay, is your heart opened? Are you being compassionate and kind? Are you, intentionally wanting to connect with other people? Yes, Julie, I am working on it. I know. Um, Anyhow, so are you working from the heart, right? Or are you being more analytical in your mind? Because that's very Gemini energy with Venus and Gemini. That's a very, analytical, okay, overthinking type of energy. So are you working from the mind or are you working from the heart? And if you're working from the heart, what are the qualities, right? Is it courage that you're maybe stepping into something new? Is it, being brave and taking on an extra, a responsibility, right? Because that's very Leo energy, is that responsibility and taking on. Is it that you need to connect with somebody, so there's a lot of interrelational, okay, aspects to this, retrograde. Now let's take a look at it on a more, challenging side. Yeah. This time can be a time when people can inadvertently become more selfish. Okay. Maybe they don't want to communicate their feelings. Maybe they're experiencing a level of distrust or feeling like dishonesty, right? Betrayal may come up during this time period as well. And so, it may be you that is experiencing this, or you might be experiencing this from other people. Okay. So again, the retrograde energy in Leo, it's like, let's stop the movement forward. Okay. And so there's this natural tendency of maybe closing the heart, or maybe not communicating what you're feeling, or maybe your partner's not communicating what they're feeling, or maybe you are communicating and you are misunderstanding, right? So again, it's about taking the time to recognize where your heart is. Okay, obviously it's in your chest. Like, hello. Okay, it's right here. Actually, not right here. It's right here. Yeah. Okay, the heart chakra is right here. The heart is over here somewhere. I don't know. I'm not a nurse or a doctor, but I think it's over here. And if you're Doctor Who, you got two hearts. Yeah. Nah, I love Doctor Who. 10th Doctor Who. That's my favorite. David Tennant. And that's the end of that conversation. Okay, so where was I? Yes, so with the heart, okay. Again, it's this is a Leo energy time. So you're going to have backward energy happening, right? An internalization, self-reflection, okay, or experiencing, uh, issues with, I hate to use the word issues because I don't want to be like a fear monger, but challenges are typically pretty common during a retrograde, especially with Mercury retrograde technology, right? During this time period, okay? But I think this is, if we use this intention or this energy correctly, then we can take a look at, gosh, my glasses were dirty. I just realized that when I took them off. Um, we can really assess, okay, what we value, okay, where we need to step into courage, okay, where we maybe are being too selfish and self-centered, all right, maybe we need to start working from the heart more than from the head. All right. Maybe we're working too much from the heart, giving too much because Leo energy is very much about giving too. As much as they do for themselves, they're going to do for other people. Right. So this for me is a time of inner self-reflection. Okay. And the new moon is coming up, okay, and it's going to be a Leo new moon. So we're gonna see some energy there. All right. I will send out a video giving you an idea about that energy. But for now, I mean, if you just lit a candle, right, it's fire. Fire energy is Leo. If you just lit a candle and you candle gazed, I don't know if you've ever tried that, but it's actually pretty cool. If you just like pay attention to the flame and watch how it moves, it's pretty intense because sometimes you find yourself like moving with the wick. Okay, I have to say, just reminding y'all, in 16, I had a pretty gnarly car accident. I ended up with like uh I was going to say a TMI, but that's not a traumatic brain injury. And so sometimes I still mix up my words. So please forgive me. It's the wick of a candle, the wick. Okay, there we go. And just watch the wick as it flows and just see what comes up in your, intuitive imagination, right? And just go with it, right? Especially if it has to do with the heart. Heart-based mantras are also going to be important. Okay, so if you like the Buddhist mantras, right, the green Tara, okay, mantra is really great. Om Tare tu re soha. Okay, that's also really great for the heart. Working with Kuan Yin, okay, as well, very heart-centered energy. You can also work with masculine energy. Okay, if you want to work with the essence of fire again, maybe creating a fire in your patio. You can hear my baby boy. Okay. Maybe working, lighting the fire in your patio and just, reflecting with the fire energy. Now, if you're in Central Texas, you have no need for fire right now because we are like burning up. So I don't know. We'll try something else. But the herbs that you can also work with are cinnamon and hot peppers. Okay, those are fire energy if you want to get motivated and do things. And let me remind you that sometimes when you start things on Mercury retrograde, you might have to go back and redo some of those things. So maybe not the best time to start things, but if you can't wait and you have to start projects or initiate, intentions or whatever it is, just be very mindful and look at the details because you might find yourself having to come back and reevaluate. So that is it. I hope I have given you some information there. I forgot about the crystals. So if you want to wear maybe a rose, okay, crystal, right? Rose represents the heart. Red jasper is also really great for this. Garnet, okay, is also, although it belongs to Capricorn, right? January energy, Sag and whatever, Yvonne. Garnet is really good to work with. And I think that's it. I have to go walk my baby boy because he's at the door and he's whining, which means that he's about to have an accident and I don't want to be the one that has to pick it up. So we will survive this. Um, direct on Mercury turns direct on August 12th. Okay. Let me know how things are working for you. And that's it. All right, everyone. You can find me at silvermooncounseling.org, silvermooncounseling.org. And yeah, my website's not done because I didn't work on it. Okay. Anyhow, we'll see you guys. Love you. Bye.